Oh, he believes a lot of wild things. One of them is transgender surgery for people who are under 13.
So for those out there who are wondering, aren't there something else you could be doing or doesn't seem to impact you in your life? This is what it means to show empathy. This is what it means to be welcoming.
He changed the Minnesota state flag to make it look like the Somali flag. You ever seen that?
But our current flag is problematic. I think we all know that. We've evolved into a more diverse state, and I think it's more.
Joe Rogan just stumbled onto something involving Tim Walz so strange that even UFO stories start sounding reasonable. In one moment, Walz stops looking like a normal politician and suddenly feels like a walking plot twist. Rogan now has enough material to roast him hotter than elk on a Texas grill. This isn't politics anymore. This is reality TV that somehow wandered into Minnesota. What Joe uncovers blends humor, chaos, and a hint of conspiracy into one non-stop ride. Grab your popcorn.
Walz's descriptions of his military career, because there's some issues there.
Yeah.
That people have. I don't know if he flat out ever said that he served in Afghanistan, but he certainly didn't dissuade people from saying that he was. When they were saying he didn't correct them,
right?
There was things.
If you're enjoying this, hit subscribe. It really helps. Joe Rogan has seen a lot of weird things. UFO encounters, politicians pretending to be experts on elk, and health gurus claiming kale fixes everything. But even Joe wasn't ready for Tim Walz, a politician who somehow makes Minnesota feel like a runaway sitcom.
Fucker, if that guy got into power, like if Kamala died and Tim Walz, Tampon Tim, was our president, you know how crazy this country would be? That weirdo who puts tampons in the boys' room, and what about our joy? Like he's a complete pathological liar. Like a complete liar. Lied about being in Tiananmen Square. Lied about being a fucking head coach.
When Rogan pulls back the curtain, he doesn't find a mastermind. He finds chaos wrapped in confidence. Walz looks endlessly busy while accomplishing almost nothing. It's politics on a treadmill, constant motion, zero progress. Ridiculous, yet oddly impressive in its own way.
Oh, Tim Walz is out there talking again.
Did you say he could fight any Trump supporter?
Yeah, he says he kicked their ass, and they're scared of him because he could fix a truck. Like they were threatened by his masculinity. I know how to fix a truck. So he said, like, do you? I bet you don't.
The lady doth protest too much.
I bet you don't.
I fear.
I bet if I bring a broken truck to you and a bag of tools.
That was kind of the redress, right? That was the attempt. It was like, we're gonna the symbol of masculinity on the left.
Every time Walz tries to show leadership, it feels less like authority and more like a substitute teacher losing control 5 minutes into class. Minnesota expected a strong leader. Instead, they got a confused dad fumbling with the TV remote. Leadership turned into a family sitcom, and the laugh track practically writes itself.
Tim Walz doing the exact same thing.
Right.
Exact same thing. And he said, of course, it's a Nazi salute. He said that.
Right.
We spent 3 days debating, having them trying to debate that President Musk gave a Nazi salute. Of course he did. But that is a distraction.
This is how crazy things have gotten. Like,
the wild part is Walz doesn't even hide it. He acts like he's cracked the code to governing, but Joe notices his big ideas sound like something ripped from a 2003 motivational calendar. Advice that only feels deep if you're half asleep in a dentist chair. Rogan doesn't attack. He just pauses and asks, are we really doing this? And somehow that makes it even funnier.
And there's no pushback. There's no like, excuse me, I didn't go to Iraq. Right.
Exactly.
And I retired, as my unit was deploying. And so
we were retired a couple months before.
Right?
Yes. What is the whole story
those guys know
it?
they know that they're going, right? It's not like they suddenly get a paper, on one day. There's a build up to that, and they're aware of it. And so, even his personnel were saying, look, we all knew we were going. He knew he was going.
Even funnier, Walz walks around like he's the secret hero of American politics. Half the country wouldn't recognize him, but Joe instantly spots the absurdity. Beneath the smile is no mastermind, just a guy trying to keep up with professionals using a playbook and a crayon. Every story spirals into another bizarre twist, like peeling an onion only to find a spray-painted cabbage. One of Joe's favorite moments is Walz talking leadership like a TED Talk while the results look like a kindergarten art project. Confusing, chaotic, and proudly presented as groundbreaking.
Is that right with Tim Walz?
I know I'm doing something right when the Fox News crowd is all watching at me like crazy. Like, I'm loving it.
That guy was almost the vice president of the United States.
Elon Musk was crying last week. Tim is being mean to me, you know, like, yeah.
I'm sure you've seen that thing where it shows Obama saying, I need a vice president that's dumber than me.
He may or may not have cognitive decline problems at his age, but at her age, she's just dumb.
Yeah, Biden,
I think I would say
Imagine someone delivering a big speech about innovation while still using a flip phone. That's the level of irony here. Walz loves standing tall like he's rewriting history, but Joe notices half the time he's really just rewriting his grocery list. What cracks Joe up most is how Walz carries himself like Minnesota is the center of a political revolution, when it's really a testing ground for dad jokes and awkward town halls. Walz thinks he's running Rome. Joe sees a lemonade stand with bad math. Give him a chance to look presidential and it turns into a blooper reel. Hand him a national issue and it's a badly wrapped gift. Torn paper, no bow, no instructions.
This video?
I haven't seen. Please play it.
It's probably a real person. It might not be Tim Walz. Trump is AI generated.
No, he slaps his...
I mean, that is hilarious.
It's definitely him. This is all 100% real, Jamie. You're a plant by the
Jamie's
government.
compromised.
On top of it's AI generated.
Riley
So
Moore
hard.
fell for an AI-generated video of Minnesota government. I fell for it too. And you know why I fell for it?
Yeah.
Because I believe that he's capable.
It's almost impressive, like watching someone slip on ice and somehow not fall. Skill or blind luck. No one can tell. Walz dodges accountability like Neo in The Matrix, except it's bad decisions flying at him. Rogan dismantles the myth that Walz is some misunderstood genius. No. He's an overconfident substitute gym teacher. Loud pep talks. Zero real strategy. Walz thinks he's playing chess, but it's Candyland, and he's still losing. The deeper Joe digs, the stranger it gets. Walz talks longer, hoping nonsense turns into wisdom. Joe isn't buying it. The speeches sound inspiring until you realize the motivational cats are stuck in a tree.
Time. I mean, they were talking about cracking down on hate speech online. Like, that free speech is not hate speech. That Tim Walz guy was actually saying that.
I think we need to push back on this. There's no guarantee to free speech on misinformation or hate speech, and especially around our democracy.
Hate speech.
Here's the real kicker. Walz somehow convinces people he's relatable. Joe calls it out immediately. That down-to-earth act feels like it was written by a nervous marketing intern. It's not authenticity, it's improv comedy with a 2-drink minimum. Walz struts around as the everyman, but Joe exposes him as an AI bot programmed to say folks on repeat. And just when you think it can't get more awkward, he tops himself. Big initiatives collapse faster than bargain lawn chairs. He stacks blunders like trophies, hoping history applauds. Spoiler, it won't. When Walz enters a room, the mood shifts. Not from respect, but because everyone braces for accidental comedy. Joe compares it to first-time karaoke. Loud, confident, completely off-key. You can't look away.
But the video of him taking down the Minnesota flag and he replaced it with the new flag that looks a lot like the Somali flag. Minnesota has a huge population of Somalis in it. All right, ready? Whoa, wait a minute. So he gets the flag, picks it up, and replaces it.
There, that's better.
Why is it?
Here's the irony. Walz genuinely thinks he's crushing it. While everyone else sees a blooper reel, he sees a highlight reel. Joe points out that Walz might be living in an alternate reality where every mistake counts as a win. That delusion becomes his superpower, just strong enough to keep a straight face on camera. Joe also calls out his trend chasing, like a surfer who never learned balance, saying the right words without doing the work. Politics becomes karaoke again, with Walz mumbling the lyrics and hoping no one notices. He treats criticism like a personal attack, doubling down with misplaced confidence. Watching him handle adversity is like fixing a broken sink with duct tape. Ineffective, but oddly admirable.
It's
so
Kamala, and
perfect.
Kamala saying, I need a vice president dumber than me. It's Walz. Men have tampons.
We have a lot of accomplishment. We haven't taken adequate credit for it, frankly. We got to do a better job of getting the word out about what we have accomplished and who did it.
You got to lose because we got to break this cycle. We're getting
The timing couldn't be better. Rogan's breakdown lands right when people are desperate for real authenticity in leadership. Walz delivers the exact opposite. Forced charm, awkward gestures, and constant discomfort. Joe shows he's not just out of touch. He seems to be operating on an entirely different planet. It's not sinister. It's pure comedy gold. Walz acts like he's starring in a serious political drama, but ends up as the comic relief no one can stop watching. Joe paints a clear picture. A politician who stumbled into the spotlight, convinced himself it was destiny, and has been improvising ever since. Big speeches land at the wrong time. Dad joke policies confuse even his aides. Confidence balloons while results collapse. Minnesota wanted vision and direction. Instead, they got a sitcom character whose every appearance feels like a blooper reel.
Complete pathological liar.
Let's be honest, there are outsiders coming into communities, stealing and moving jobs away, and making life harder for people living there. And they have names, Donald Trump and J.D. Vance.
Complete liar. Lied about being in Tiananmen Square, lied about being a head coach of a football team.
Because this started, and I love this story, as a young prosecutor. Kamala Harris talked about going in that courtroom for the first time.
Pathological liars. People that are habitual liars. They just lie all the time about everything.
Yeah.
Oh, you didn't deploy for war. You didn't. Why are you saying you deployed at war? The weapons you used in war? No. You were in war.
I plan on waking up on...
Walz isn't unlucky, he's consistent. Every speech, every attempt to look presidential somehow turns into another blooper. It's almost impressive, like gravity hits Minnesota politicians harder than anyone else. You'd think he'd learn after the first mistake, but no. He walks into the same glass door twice, like the universe owes him a do-over. He's a magician with one trick, and even that fails half the time. Minnesota applauds politely, unsure if they're watching a headliner or an opening act. And here's the punchline. Walz truly believes he's winning. He delivers Oscar-worthy monologues while everyone else watches a full comedy reel. Joe Rogan didn't need secret files or scandals. He just held up a mirror. What reflected back wasn't a villain. It was Tim Walz, the accidental comedian of politics, starring in a never-ending, unrequested sitcom. And thanks to Joe, that illusion finally cracked.